beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be talking about boosting our iron levels. So iron is a very important mineral that enables our red blood cells to carry oxygen around our bodies. And when we say people are iron deficient, it means that we lack enough iron. We don't get enough iron to supply its needs. And you see, so many people are iron deficient without even knowing. And, in this video, I will be talking about some of the symptoms of iron deficiency, what causes people to become iron deficient, some of the foods that you can eat to boost your iron levels, and also how to optimize your iron absorption. So stay tuned as we get into the discussion. So some of the symptoms of iron deficiency, just to name a few, are things like headaches, loss of appetite, weight loss, hair loss. You also have feeling very tired, people feeling very lethargic, wanting to sleep all the time. That might be a sign of low iron. And also a very high risk of infection. We also have iron deficiency anemia. So there's lots of symptoms of iron deficiency. So if you have any of these symptoms, make sure you see your doctor to do a blood test to see what your iron levels are, because some of these symptoms mimic other illnesses. So it's very tempting to just go for a paracetamol or something like that. So if you feel like you have any of these symptoms, get yourself checked, get a blood test to check what your iron levels are. So what causes people to become iron deficient? So you see, most of the iron we get comes from the food that we eat. So if you eat less food that contains iron, you will definitely become iron deficient. And likewise, if you eat food that are very rich in iron, you will have enough supply of iron. But you see, if you're someone like me that was born with a genetic blood disorder called sickle cell anemia, we're always running low on iron. So we have to do everything to make sure that we boost our iron levels. And also, for women, especially during our monthly periods, we lose a lot of blood. And you find that a lot of women do become iron deficient during that period. And you feel very lethargic, you feel very tired, you're having headaches and all these things. So it's very normal. So during this period, I would advise you to, eat a lot of iron-rich foods to boost your iron levels. And also, pregnancy can cause people to become iron deficient. And also, GI problems, gastrointestinal problems, can cause internal bleeding. And this is usually caused by taking NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So some of these medications that you take can cause you to have, gastrointestinal problems. And as a result of that, you might have some intestinal bleeding without even knowing. And this will cause you to become very anemic. So it is very important to always get yourself checked if you have any of the symptoms I mentioned earlier of iron deficiency. So, if you're iron deficient, then you can take steps to boost your iron level. So, iron absorption. So there's no point in talking about all these fancy iron-rich foods, all these wonderful foods that are, very high in iron content, without understanding if our body is going to absorb them. You see, there are also things that you need to understand that inhibit or stops our body from absorbing iron. Things like caffeine, drinks, high caffeinated drinks can stop our bodies from absorbing iron, calcium, and you name it. So vitamin C is something that, helps our body to absorb iron. So if you're eating iron-rich foods, it's very important that you incorporate vitamin C foods. And some of the foods that are very high in vitamin C are things like oranges. Most of the citrus fruits are very high in vitamin C content. You also have things like cauliflower, you have bell peppers, you have broccoli, you have kiwi fruit. So eat some of these things together with your iron-rich foods to help your body to absorb them. We also have things like red meat. You see, red meat is a very high in iron. And iron from foods comes in two different forms. We have the heme iron and the non-heme iron. So the heme iron is the iron that our body easily absorbs, and these mostly come from animal products. So we have things like red meat, we have seafood, we have poultry, and the non-heme ions are foods that come from plants that our body doesn't easily absorb, and we need iron, absorbers like vitamin C to enable our body to absorb them. So red meat is very high in iron and easily absorbed in our body. So you want to be doing loads of nice steaks and nice soya, and it's very high in iron, and our body can easily absorb them. So put that on your number one list. And also soak your beans and your legumes before cooking them. So what I normally do is soak them the night before, and the reason being that beans and legumes contain a chemical called phthalate, and this chemical inhibits our body from absorbing iron. So, but if you soak it, you're reducing the amount of phytic acid in the beans. Did you know that a bit? So, if you're cooking your beans or your chickpeas and things like that, soak them for some time. Overnight is even better before you cook them. So that enables your body at least to absorb a bit more iron and reduce the amount of phytic acid in the bean. So also, if you want to boost your iron absorption, is to cook in iron cast pots. So cooking in these pots and pans enables the food to get absorbed, to absorb the iron coming from these pots and pans. So you see, back then, most of our parents, the moms, will cook in iron pots. So now I get the idea. So cooking in these pots means, especially if you're cooking food that is high in acid, rich in moisture, things like tomatoes, the food absorb all the iron from the food, and as you eat them, your iron levels get boosted. And studies have also shown that if you're using cast iron pots on a regular basis, you're boosting your iron levels by about 16%, which is amazing. So if you want to increase your iron absorption, get yourself some iron pots, okay? So some top healthy foods that are very rich in iron, we have things like organ meat. We talked about red meat. So organ meat are things like liver, heart, brain, um, kidney. So these kinds of foods are very high in iron. For instance, an ounce of pork liver will give you up to 6.61 milligrams of iron. So, I mean, come on, let's get eating some more liver. And I love me some liver. So, yeah, these organ meats are very high in iron. So, get yourself some. So also, shellfish are very rich in iron. As I mentioned earlier, these are heme iron, which means our body easily absorbs them. You have things like oysters, mussels, seafood. So, I mean, there's a pack of seafood I normally get from Aldi or Lidl, or mixed seafood that, you can get them and just do some kind of stir fry with it. These are usually very rich in iron. And they heme iron, which means our body easily absorbs them. So we also have things like spinach and dark leafy greens. So spinach are very high in iron and antioxidants and all the minerals and vitamins as well. So if you get yourself eating more spinach, you can do them in juices. You can even make some vegetable thing in it, like I always do. Call them jama jama. Those are very rich in iron. You can fry them, and your body easily absorbs some of these leafy greens if you mix them with fatty or with fat. Like what I tend to do is to cook my spinach with olive oil. So with the fat, your body easily absorbs them. Fry them, stir fry them, juice them, however you want to do. Make sure you get enough spinach and leafy greens. Also, things like legumes and beans, red kidney beans, black eye beans, these are all very rich in iron. And also, like I mentioned, make sure you soak them for some time. I do soak them for like a day before, so that you get all the phytic acid out of it. Well, not all of it, but most of the phytic acid would have been removed, which inhibits our body from absorbing iron. So legumes and beans are very high in iron. So get yourself eating some more beans and legumes. Also, one of my favorite is beetroot. So beetroot is very rich in so many minerals and vitamins. So it's also very rich in iron. So what I tend to do, beetroot is something that some people find it very difficult to eat. So you can make it, you can cook it, it might become a bit more friendly. What I tend to do is to put it in juice and or chop them and put them in salad. You know, you can blend them with things like carrots and other fruits and mix some orange juice in it. Very, very good. So these are very high in iron. So get yourself some beetroot. Put them in your salad. Just do them however you fancy. Boost your iron level. Also, the last thing I want to talk about is iron supplement, which is not one of my favorite, but some people do tend to use it. Some people need it. So if you go to the doctors, for instance, and they find that your iron levels are very low, to boost your iron levels quickly, they might put you on some iron tablets, but you always make sure that you consult your doctor before taking any medicine or any medication. So iron supplements are also good for, you know, if you want to boost your iron levels, but these sometimes cause you constipation. So if you happen to be on prescribed iron supplements, I will advise you to eat things like dates, um, not dried nuts. This will help you in with the constipation that is caused by the iron supplement. But my advice is my iron supplement is always the last option. If I go to the doctors and I was told that my iron levels are very low, which are always very low, but there's always a number that I know if this threshold goes down, then I need to be worried. I always try to, you know, take measures to do natural things to improve my iron levels before I stick to supplements, because you know those are usually very difficult for to be absorbed by our body. And so, but if you have any of these symptoms that we've talked about, feeling dizzy, having headache, feeling very tired, you notice that you're losing hair, you're feeling looking pale, you know, please get on the phone and speak to your doctor or your medical professional because iron deficiency is something that can lead to other problems. And the earlier you want to sort out your iron deficiency, the better. So make sure you always check your iron levels. Book an appointment with your doctor to do it's just a blood test to check what your iron levels are. For people that suffer with sickle cell, usually our iron levels are very low. So it's expected to have low iron levels if your body is okay with that low iron levels. If not, you will know. Your body will tell you if you're too low on iron. That's why you see some of us are always very tired. But make sure you check your iron levels and keep well. If this video has been useful, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. God bless you.